All right, welcome to Coffee Conversations. I am your host, Lobonc Billhartz, and I've got with me today Bob Baker. He is a music marketing expert and has grown his YouTube channel pretty well. And he's also an author, musician, does lots of things. So welcome, Bob. I'm so thrilled to have you on today.
Yeah, Jen, thank you for the invitation. It's good to see you, even though it's not in person.
Yeah, likewise.
I just realized it's coffee conversations, right?
Do you have your coffee?
I don't have any coffee here, but I have water and some juice. But next time, I'll get my caffeine from some other source.
That's totally fine. It's 3 p.m, so not everyone wants to be awake till midnight anyways.
Exactly.
So no worries. Yeah, well, it's great to see you, and happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thanks. That was a couple of weeks ago. I like to think I'm still celebrating.
Well, we can pretend. It's a continuous celebration.
It's an odd year. It's an odd year to do a lot of things, but I was planning on it was a milestone birthday for me, and I was planning a big birthday bash, and I had a party, but we had it outdoors, and it was everybody was keeping their distance from each other, but so yeah, we find ways to make do in this unusual era that we're going through.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you got to do something. It's all we can hope for.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm excited. I know we have a lot of mutual friends. Our paths have crossed a number of times in recent years, and I know, I'm excited to share with you and your peeps whatever I can to inspire and educate and all that good stuff. So
yeah, very cool. So you're out of St. Louis too, but I would say you have influenced and reached out to more than just the St. Louis area and region.
Yes, that is safe to say.
You're doing a lot of right things. So again, I'm very excited to be having the opportunity to pick your brain and see how you've managed to get so successful, because that's what you do. You know what to do. I know a lot of people have worked with you or followed you and have adapted a lot of your tips and tricks. Plus, you teach at the university level, so
Lindenwood University, like one of your other guests recently.
Yeah, so you're inspiring lots of people in many different ways, and I've seen that your advice and everything it works and it's legitimate.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I'm like you. I'm in St. Louis, and actually, I'm a native St. Louis, and I'm born and raised here, and I never have lived anywhere else. I've traveled a lot, but yeah, this has been my home for a number of decades. You have to guess what milestone that is. Obviously, it's 30 or 40, right?
Well, 30.
We'll go with that. Yeah. 30 is the new 60 is the new 30. I don't know, whatever you want to say. But So since I was very young, I'll just give you a quick little kind of recap of kind of what led me to where I am. But I, from an early age, I had an interest in the arts, in particular music and the written word. I learned to play the guitar, like by the time I was in middle school. And even before that, I was writing just on my own, fascinated with the language. And then back in the 80s, when I was in my mid 20s, I had this idea to start a publication, a print publication that covered the local music scene here in St. Louis. That was the first time that those two interests, writing and music, came together. Mm-hmm. And by that time, I was gigging out a lot too, around town, playing in many different bands. And but I ended up publishing this newspaper for 10 years.
What was it called?
It's called Spotlight Magazine, and older musicians in St. Louis remember it fondly. But I did that for a full decade, and it allowed me to interview artists at many different levels, from the local bands to mid-level touring acts to even major label acts every now and then. My focus was on local music, so I didn't really interview a lot of big stars, but I did interview like Sheryl Crow when her first album came out, and
nice.
Different people, artists at the time, and I just always found myself picking their brains about what led to their success. And I was always been kind of very entrepreneurial myself, and so that 10 years of doing that, and then in the early 90s, like 93, my first book was published, and I've since published like 15 paperback books and many
Oh,
other
wow.
ebooks and audiobooks and online courses.
Nice.
Originally, the topics were specifically about music marketing, and I was kind of a pioneer, I guess, back in the '90s, publishing with independent publishing, and also creating resources that were geared for the independent artists. Because back in the '90s, everybody still wanted a record deal. That was the way to
Yep.
go. And I was sort of like one of the original or early voices speaking this message of independence and take your career into your own hands and focus on fans and all this stuff. And so that set me up to where I put the paper. Actually, it was a 10-year anniversary issue of Spotlight magazine. It was my farewell issue, and I wanted to dive more into being an author and like you said, reaching more of a global audience using this new thing called the internet back in the late '90s. This growing thing, I should say, and it's just been a great ride since then. So yeah, many books. I've expanded. It started off with music marketing. Then I realized I'm involved in the arts. I teach and perform improv. I've done acting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a musician. I'm a writer, even some visual art. And so I started creating resources for creative people in general with an inspirational message, and some books for how to. The last time I had a day job was 2004. So we're talking like 16 years of being fully self-employed. And
Wow, it's amazing.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thanks. So that's just kind of give you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's a new
love it.
angle to it that I think I know you're interested in talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's more. So yeah, the online stuff. So I know you're doing a killer job just on Facebook alone. I love these little video clips you've been posting with the text. That definitely like lures me in, and plus you're hilarious. So you've got this comedic element that goes along with it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And you've embraced TikTok, which I'm not brave enough for that, but I guess I mean it's entertaining.
Yeah, that's what
it's got a lot of fun.
I've been hearing about TikTok for a long time, and I was resistant to adding yet another social media site because I'm on most of them, not all of them equally. But when I got on it, I became fascinated with short form video because I've been on. We're going to talk about YouTube. I've been on YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been doing video since 2006 is when I got on YouTube.
Oh my gosh!
Second year that I was in existence. So, and ever since I was younger too, being kind of a ham and a performer, I was used to looking into a camera and speaking. And so by the time this YouTube era came around, I was comfortable because not everybody is. Like right now, I'm looking into a camera lens. It's not a person,
Right.
but you can. And a lot of people are awkward at first when they're new to that. But if you just do it over and over again and start thinking of it as a person that you're speaking to instead of just this little.
Absolutely. Well, you are talking to me. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, I know.
But more importantly,
yes.
But we're talking to the audience. It's about you. It's about you that's watching.
Exactly. And that's an important message. Actually, that's a big part of my marketing message is that you have to put yourself self-promotion is the marketing word or term that a lot of people are familiar with. And the first word or syllable of that is self. And so a lot of people are focused on themselves when they go to market and promote and share their message, when really you have to flip that around and put yourself in the other person's shoes and realize that what can you say to them about what you offer that's going to be of interest to them. It's going to highlight a benefit to them. And that's really what effective marketing is. One of my big part of my message over the years is pushing benefits instead of features, and just being aware of what your ideal fan, what they're looking for and what they're interested in.
No, I mean, we could spend hours talking about just the last 30 seconds of what you said.
Yeah. We'll have to say
so
that for
much. I mean, there's so much value to that, but yes, we are here today to talk about marketing, but more so in the video side of things with YouTube. And you've currently got over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Am I close in that number?
I actually just hit 135, believe it or not.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I hit the coveted.
I hit the 100,000 like right around Thanksgiving of 2019.
Okay.
And there actually was a slowdown, like in early days of the pandemic. You would think that, yeah, everybody's just has all this free time. But there was a month or two there where actually views and new subscribers were down, but it
Okay.
started. But then by the time the spring rolled around, I started ticking back up, and so
Rising
now,
back.
yeah, the numbers, yeah, I think are even higher. Like this monthly, yeah, it's just crazy. So be happy to share, and it's a very different type of thing than what my books. Well, not very
Yeah.
different.
Well,
I see them as related, but it's a shift that maybe I didn't see coming, and but I think, I love it.
so are you, I guess, people are on YouTube for many different reasons.
Yes.
Um, and I guess, I've started the show Coffee Conversations, and I'm publishing on just podcast platforms, but also on YouTube. And it originated as a podcast, but I wanted to do a video version of it too. And I found that it's more popular on YouTube. I guess people just kind of like the visual side of things a little bit better. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It could be a multitude of things. But anyways, I would like to be able to reach more people. And I'm sure a lot of, so many artists want the same thing. They want to reach more people. They want to get those views and the subscribers and do this big thing and whatever it is. So like, how do I get there? I'm just starting out, and you have to assume I know nothing, because I don't know anything. The only thing I know is about marketing in general, but I don't know how to convert that to YouTube and building that online presence, because it's a whole different beast.
Yes, it is. It's very different than any of the other social sites. Yeah.
Yeah, but I figured you're the best person for this, because you can relate to me with this vast, you've got a vast knowledge of with music and the arts in general. And so yeah, you just seemed like the right suspect for me.
Cool. In a lot, you could pick me out in a lineup. That guy can help me more than the other guy. All right.
Right.
Suspect. So real quickly, I'll just so for those people who may not know, who probably don't know, I'll just explain real briefly the YouTube transformation. So I mentioned, YouTube was founded or started in 2005. I got on it in second year, 2006. I uploaded my first video, and for the first decade, I posted a lot of stuff because, like I said, I've been kind of video friendly. I realized the value of video, but I had a wide array of topics that I cover. There's stuff related to my books, stuff related to my music, to my comedy, and song parodies, and silly and personal travel, and family Christmas videos, and all this stuff. Whole wide range of things. And one thing I noticed over that decade is not every video gets the same type of attention. There's always a handful of them that stand out as far as numbers of views, and I was always curious about that. But somehow over that first decade, like it's 2006 to 2016, I guess, I got to a point where maybe I had 4,000 subscribers. And I was a YouTube partner by then. They keep changing. They've changed the requirements. So you have to reach some certain minimum thresholds to be a YouTube partner. And when you're a partner, you get one of the perks that you get is that you can monetize your videos. You can select what videos you want YouTube to run ads on, and any money they collect, they split with the creator. So 4 years ago, I, like I said, I had around 4,000 subscribers, and I probably made, I don't know, 10 or 15 bucks a month in ad revenue, because I really wasn't focused on it much. Maybe 20 on a good month, so I'll say, well, that's cool. But then I decided to experiment. I just became really curious about YouTube. And I don't know, maybe I was going through a stage of my life where I just was looking for a new kind of adventure, a creative project or whatever. So I started experimenting with things on YouTube. But one of the things that I did was, and this came out of my own personal interest. I've been a fan or a proponent of personal development and personal growth, since I was in high school. And I realized And so like meditation and positive self-talk, that's something like for years, I can remember back in my newspaper days or when I was aspiring to be full-time as an author, I would say affirmations to myself, and visualize the day that I could support myself. And so you do a lot of things just to kind of to boost your positivity and your attitude and focus on what you want, not on what you don't want, because there's plenty of things to be unhappy about. So we have to kind of train our minds to focus on the positive.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was seeking out at this stage, 3 or 4 years ago, I was kind of becoming a YouTube power user where I was seeking out guided meditations and affirmation recordings, and just often not happy with what I was finding. And so it got to the point where, and this is like a lot of ideas for new businesses come out of this. There's a void in the marketplace, and I knew my way around, podcasting equipment. I've also been podcasting since 2005. And so I had the equipment, I had the ability, I felt I had a decent voice. And so I said, I think I can create some stuff that I'm looking for, that I can't find, and then just put it out there and to see what people, I didn't really have a big business plan. It wasn't like a big grand scheme. It was like, let's play with this, and see what happens. And they start, nothing viral, nothing like, to shot out of the gate, astronomically, but they were getting more views than my average videos. And the light bulb went off. And so I said, I'm going to do a few more of these. They got more views. And so then I became kind of obsessed with YouTube and just took a deep dive into learning all I could about it, experimenting with topics, with themes, with approaches. And that's how my channel grew. And so now, for like a year and a half now, it's exclusively on my channel, just do affirmations, guided meditations, this kind of inspirational stuff. More, even though there's a video aspect of it, most people, actually 80% of the people listen to it without even watching the videos. They watch it first thing or listen first thing in the morning. And so anyway, that's how I grew my channel. And then I had like 20. So I went from like 4,000 to 20,000 subscribers. 6 months later, I doubled it to 40. 6 months after that, I doubled it to 80. Now that doubling rate has slowed down, but still it continues to grow. And so my views are just crazy. My most popular video has over 3 million views.
Oh my goodness.
I have like around 800,000 views a month. So that's incredible. Reaching, it's just nuts. And so, and I have this whole new fan base of people who just like devour my material, and they claim, based on the dozens of comments that I get every day, I'm helping people improve and change their lives. And so what can be more satisfying than that?
Yeah, you're saving the world. That's one affirmation at a time.
Or at least, and it does, I like to think that it does create a ripple effect. If I can help inspire someone to think differently about their own lives, their attitude changes. Aren't they going to affect their friends and their family?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's what a way to serve people. And because of the number of views, it's the primary way that I also support myself. So there's all of these benefits,
That's incredible.
And so anyway, that's where I am with that. And I'd be happy to talk.
So that's been a 15-year journey, and it sounds like you kind of started in one place and are now in a different spot than when you started out. So I guess starting out, like, how often are you posting on YouTube?
So these days I post at least, most weeks I post 2 videos a week. Google gives you a ton of analytics in your dashboard when you're a creator. You can start a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. So I knew that I had the highest views in the mornings, like 6 to 9 p.m., especially on Mondays. And so I guess it was that people are waking up, and I discovered long ago that morning affirmations were my most popular topic. And there are a lot of other channels out there that some channels have even way bigger numbers than me, and they focus on sleep affirmations, or some of them on guided meditations. But for some reason, my morning affirmation stuff is the most popular. So I post like around 5 or 6 a.m. on Monday, and then again on Thursday. Every now and then I'll throw in an additional one on Saturday, but consistently 2 videos every week. And so, so you have to be consistent. So with YouTube, if you have a new channel or you want to breathe life into a one that's been sitting dormant for a while, there's no quick fix. There's no easy button. I'd be happy to share some best practices with you, and maybe see how we can apply them to your own YouTube channel.
Sure. So like how long, what's the average duration of these affirmation videos that you're posting?
So mine are generally, they're usually a minimum of 5 minutes, but most of them are in the 8 to 10, 12 minute range. So they basically 5 to 15 minutes. Okay. They're not super, I mean, there are channels that have like hour long, and some of them have like these nighttime things that go 8 hours, which is crazy to me.
So you have someone in your head the whole time you're sleeping?
Exactly. Yeah. People think that there's some school of thought there that it affects your subliminal or your subconscious mind while you're sleeping. But I focus on the more while you're awake one myself.
Okay.
But so we kind of mentioned this earlier. One of the first things I like to point out is what makes YouTube different from all the social media sites. So I think you kind of started heading in that direction earlier. But if I were to ask you, Jen, what are some aspects of YouTube that make it different than Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these others? If I had to put you on the spot.
Like for me, or just in a generalized opinion?
What makes YouTube, from your perspective, what makes YouTube different from these other sites?
In complete honesty, I don't use YouTube as a consumer.
Okay.
So maybe that's my first problem. Like I probably should embrace it a little bit more. But no, it's just not something that I know people will go on YouTube for a tutorial on a how-to, like, I want to learn how to build this IKEA cabinet. Let's watch a video.
There you go.
I've just not really found any of that super helpful. I know there's this huge trend. Unfortunately, my kids just discovered YouTube a few weeks ago. They're 4 and 5. But there's this whole thing with like kids and their parents just playing with toys, and it's it sucks these kids in, and it seems like the easiest thing to just record this natural setting where you're already playing, and it blows up because kids love it. They feel like they're there and they're feeling connected. And I don't know, that's just not really ever been me. I'm not a huge TV person either, I guess. Anyway, so I can't really comment on that a ton. So it seems a little counterintuitive, since here I'm asking you, how can I build YouTube, or for the viewer, how can the viewers here, build their YouTube channel? And I have nothing against YouTube, but I would say, as far as classifying it, I would not put YouTube in the same category as like Facebook or Instagram, or we had mentioned TikTok or Snapchat. To me, it just feels different.
Yeah,
It's something that is living more permanently. Like, Snapchat, the video disappears after 2 to 5 seconds, whatever. And the way the algorithms on Facebook are working now, you almost have to post the same thing 5 times in a day to make sure that anybody sees it. And so for me, YouTube, it's like more permanent. And so I consider it, okay, I want to publish something that's more substantive and that just has more content to it.
Great. So even though you're not a YouTube power user, your instincts were very correct. Like to point out is that so YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. It's owned by Google, which is the number one search engine in the world, and people go there often to seek stuff out, either entertainment or to educate themselves about something. It could be, I need to repair my lawnmower. I'm looking for the best washing machine or microphone, and so YouTube is just a repository of entertainment and information, and people go there to seek things out. So if you wanted to fix your washing machine, you're not going to go to Facebook or Instagram and type in, how do I fix my, you put in the make and model, or what's the best deal on it. You don't know. You go to YouTube for that. So that's a number one thing. And then you we're, like I said, very intuitive, that it has everything has a longer shelf life on YouTube. So I mentioned the analytics, so I can log into my Facebook, so we call it Creators Studio, and I can see what the most popular videos were from the past week or the past month.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And currently, and because I check it regularly, but the top probably 3 to 5 videos I put out anywhere from 1 to 2 years ago. Like that 3 million one is like the most popular, consistently the most views, most revenue. But it came out in June of 2018, and people are still serving it up as a suggestion, or people are still discovering that. And so I like that, because one thing that frustrates me about Instagram or Twitter and all these other sites is that you put time into creating content and it disappears, and like sometimes hours, sometimes or even something that is really sticking is good for 24 to 48 hours. And so you have a longer shelf life if you identify it right, and if it gets into the good graces of YouTube's algorithms. So knowing that, again, a lot of this is mindset stuff. I mean, a lot of my marketing that I've been talking about is, you can teach tactics and what buttons to push and all this stuff, but you really have to get into the mindset of how this works. So you have to put yourself in a position to be discovered by people looking for the thing that you do. So in your case with coffee conversations, it's going to be probably the expert or the topic of the expert. So if you interview somebody who's really well known, make sure that you're going to put their name in the title. I'm assuming you put your guest name in the title.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that a lot of your guests maybe are just locally known, or maybe they're moderately known. And so then you have to put in the title or the topic that you discuss. And there's some simple keyword research that you can do just to find out what's more likely than not to be found. And you have to be really specific in identifying what this video is about, using the words and phrases that people would be using to search for that type of thing. That's kind of like the bottom line.
I know, isn't it so complicated? So there's a lot that goes into it. So I had, and that's a very good point. So I kind of started out, and I had in every episode, I would put the episode number. And then I think last week I'd eventually stopped doing that. So then last week I went back through and deleted that out of the title altogether and put kind of the highlight of what it was about. I think one of them is like how to make music as a musician. I'm sorry. How to make money as a, how to make music. No, how to make money as a musician or something like that. And like recording tips, like how do I prepare for my recording session? So I'm thinking about what are people going to be searching? So, I mean, the thing you had mentioned is that Google and YouTube are connected, I think is the first piece of information for people to understand, because, that's the biggest secret of it all, is how connected they are.
Right. So you can come up with search term, people search Google and YouTube and YouTube videos come up as search results more and more, but people are also searching within YouTube. And so there are things related to that I've learned that you can use to your advantage.
So here's a question then. Here's an interesting idea. So obviously the title is meaningful. What about the details that go under? How influential is that description as far as I guess SEO? Would we be considering this? Yeah.
So there's different elements. Years ago, when I would give YouTube advice, I would say title, description, and tags. I remember that was like a mantra that so the title is the title is the title. It's what you see, I guess, under the video in most platforms. And then the description is that longer thing. You only see like the first sentence or two of the description. You got to click show more to expand that, but you have up to like 5,000 characters, I think, or words or something. You can put a lot of information in that description, and they do use that to determine what this video is about. There are tags that I think used to be more important that you fill in, that's behind the scenes. They're not publicly seen, but you can fill them in.
I don't think they matter anymore. I think even YouTube says these don't matter.
They're not near. I still I still go ahead and
You
load
still
them
do
up,
them? Okay.
but you're right. They are greatly downgraded.
Okay.
The thing these actually the two most important things right off the bat is the title and the thumbnail. And so I just want to assume anybody. I'm just assuming that I'm speaking to somebody that maybe has not just started a YouTube channel, or maybe they're thinking about it. When you upload a video to YouTube, um, once it's processes and everything in your dashboard for that video, it will take 3 random images from
Yes.
the video that you can choose as the thumbnail. The thumbnail is basically the visual that you see before you click on something. So when you go to your homepage or you search for something, you see a list of videos, and the visual you see before you click it to watch it is called the thumbnail. It's the visual representation of that particular video. So you can pick one that randomly, but the smart thing to do is to create your own. It's called a customized
Sure.
thumbnail. So you can go into, I use Canva, which is an online free.
I love Canva.
Yeah,
Yep.
I went ahead and upgraded to the paid version because I use it so much.
Yes, it's a wonderful tool.
So I create you create a thumbnail that's visually striking, and so there's a number of things that happen when a video is served up as a suggestion to somebody on YouTube. People see visually the thumbnail, and they might read the title. But quite often the thumbnail is what catches their attention and causes them to click. And then, so YouTube pays attention to that. They actually have this like pyramid, or this the sequence of events that they measure. And one is, how many times is this thumbnail served up, meaning how many times is it shown to people? And then of those times, what percentage of people will click on it to at least check it out? Once they click on it, how much of the video do they watch? And so if I have a 10-minute affirmation video and people are bailing after a minute or two, then it's telling YouTube this is not a high quality. It's not serving the needs of this viewer. So we're not gonna serve it up to as many people. But if they're watching half or 60% or 70% on average, it's telling YouTube, oh, people are hanging through this. So this is proving. So they use these different metrics to indicate whether because YouTube's mission, you got to realize, their goal. What is YouTube's goal? It's to serve up the most relevant results for a given query or search phrase, And so they want to deliver the best quality experience for their users, because that'll lead to more views and more ad revenue, and all this stuff. So they have to measure that in some way. And then there's other things like likes and shares and subscribes that comments that indicate people are interacting with this piece of content. So anyway, so it's the thumbnail is really important. The title. Next is probably the description. You don't want to, you're not gaming the system, but you want to make sure there are words in there that are pertinent to the topic of the video. And then the new thing that I think is becoming more and more important is, they're doing automatic transcriptions or captions. So they will automatically take this, like the dialogue that we're speaking right now. YouTube would automatically use what do you call it? Speech to text, and turn that into a caption, and they use that to also determine what is in this video. What are they talking about? Is it consistent with the title and the description? So make sure that early on, right off the bat, you're saying what this thing is about, not couching it in clever.
Yeah, you want to have an accurate representation of it.
Yeah. Like at the beginning of my affirmation videos, I say the title: Morning Affirmations for Abundance and Prosperity. So I purposely now word what I say, especially early on, just to hammer home the title, And so you do all these little things and just hope that they matter after a while. So that was a long little spewing of
all of that's like very all of that's very valuable, because I know you'd mentioned the thumbnail, and YouTube will just kind of pick the most random of things, plus they're kind of blurry because it's taking from the video, and usually it has no relevance on anything or you have a goofy face. I don't know, it's always something. So don't settle is the point. Don't settle on that. Don't be lazy and just, unless they captured something great, whatever. Yeah, but sometimes I'm assuming, and I'm going to take this as some good advice. I'm going to do this myself. because I have not done it before because I've been lazy.
Mhm.
But now I know there's more bearing on it. And I'm assuming since it's so visual, you're using Canva and you're adding some text to it as well, right?
Yeah,
So that there's some like keywords or maybe the title is part of it. Like if we're going to be adding text to the picture, what type of
yeah,
written content's the most important?
I'm a big, I mean, I see a lot of popular videos that just use an image. So there's no one way to do it. You have to find out what works for your channel
Oh,
or your
okay.
topic. But I just am a big fan of putting I am gravitated toward the text that's in a thumbnail in the same way. And I learned this from book covers too. I was going to have a stack of them here to show and tell, but I don't have any in arm's reach. But when I
Okay.
design my own book covers, or even when I have somebody else do it, I make sure the title is really big on the book cover, knowing, especially these days, fewer people are. I mean, my books aren't available widely in bookstores anyway. If you can find a bookstore, but on Amazon, there's a thumbnail image of the title, and so it's pretty small. It's like the size of a postage stamp, and so I want that text to pop out. So that's something that carried over from book covers, and I think, and you may know that one of my probably what do you call it? The book that I'm best known for is called the Guerrilla Music Marketing Handbook, and it was and it appeared in the movie The School of Rock with Jack Black.
That's awesome.
Which is School of Music, and I think they chose it because I had because they wanted to visually represent that one of the characters was the band manager, and she was carrying it in a classroom scene, and I think having the title very large and readable, I think helped. I'm just assuming helped it get into the movie,
No, that's really cool. I like that perspective. I mean, it is a book. Like, if you're not going to place importance on the words, then what's the point?
Right. But there are book covers where the title is kind of buried, and you have to, I don't know, then maybe there's a visual image that captures your, that it's recognizable or whatever.
Sure.
But anyway, I find I just like to design my covers where the topic and the title is prominent in the thumbnail, the visual that represents the video. Yeah.
No, I like that. That's a solid piece of advice. So
cool.
Yeah. Well, why don't we take a couple-minute break? But for a teaser, I would like to come back and talk about more of the editing element, how we're creating these videos and this stuff that, we're not just publishing nothing. We have to create something, and what that process looks like, and some tips on that. So when we come back, we'll delve into that a bit, if that's okay.
That sounds great. And also, I could give you some free keyword research tools to help you develop your titles ahead of time to give you a better chance of being discovered.
Fancy. Ooh, like that.
They say that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so I'd fall all the way to China, a homeless girl living on the streets. Help me, my bottle's getting empty, feeling like I'm losing the game of life. I need some help with my self-regulation. Aberration, it's not working out. Not working out. Not working out. Not working out. Yeah.
All right, we are back. So this is Coffee Conversations. My name is Lobonc Billhartz, and joining me today is Bob Baker. We are talking about marketing and YouTube and how to help get things started, some tips on making your YouTube channel and videos more successful. So thanks for being here, Bob.
I'm loving it so far, and we got more good stuff to share.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so before our break, we were talking about just some kind of, in general, tips around titles and things like that. And then I was curious about gosh, I can't even remember now.
Well, I know you were asking me about like creating the videos, and then
Yes.
I was going to share some like keyword research stuff to
Right.
some real simple free tools.
Yeah, so let's get into the video side of it, because I'm new to all of this. Like prior to me starting this, I had zero video editing skills under my belt. I actually had an intern helping me initially, and he's moved on to bigger things, and so now I'm on my own. I was just kind of thrown into the wild. This is wild for sure. So what are, I guess first and foremost, what are the best video editing platforms or programs? And what are maybe your top few tips of making an awesome video? Like what goes into it?
Okay. Well, of course, what I create with affirmation and guided meditation is going to be a different approach than someone else. A musician obviously is going to be doing some different stuff. So a lot of people are intimidated by video for a number of reasons, or they're reluctant to start a YouTube channel because they think that they need thousands of dollars of equipment and a professional setup. And admittedly, I mean, like I said, YouTube has been around for 15 years, and the standards, it used to be, everything was grainy and low quality, and things still went viral, or certain videos did. And so there's definitely people on YouTube that have high production standards, almost like movie production quality,
Yes.
But that's not necessary. So the great thing is that almost everyone has this thing called a smartphone. I have an iPhone here. And so you can just use, and this is a pretty darn good camera. And so if you just want to get started and you don't have the ability to invest in or can hire anyone right now to do anything at a higher production, just use your phone. I mean, a lot of people just do selfie type videos. So that's like the most basic level of video. And so you can just do that. You can do especially if you do short stuff. Like I said, I'm fascinated with TikTok, and I'm actually, TikTok is kind of interesting in video because it's almost like the Twitter of video. It forces you to be concise,
Okay.
and get your point across in a minute or less.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and so can you just do quick little video? So that's like the most basic way. And so don't let a lack of technology stop you, because you're gonna be awkward at first. You're gonna be uncomfortable. And so just know that everybody goes through that. Just know that you're going to look back on your early videos and probably cringe, but that's just part of the process, because you want growth. I mean, if you look back 3 years ago and you go, oh, I'm doing about the same, then something's wrong. So you want to start off bad, learn, and get better and better.
So I guess, and maybe I'm wrong about this as an assumption, so correct me if I'm wrong, but you'd mentioned the quality of your equipment isn't as impactful perhaps, but it's your content. Like if somebody loves your content, even if you don't have this professional camera or whatever, they're still going to watch you. And not that I watch this particular podcaster, but for instance, Joe Rogan. I mean, I've seen clips and I feel like his lighting is horrible. His setup's not the best. And I don't mean to insult the guy, but he's not investing in that because he doesn't have to, because people love him for what he's putting out there. And so it's just about the experience versus it being visually super engaging, I guess.
Yeah. And you mentioned people don't care about the quality, they care about your content. I would clarify that further by saying they care about, and I don't put too much pressure on yourself, but they care about you and your personality. Sure. It's another one of my marketing messages, is to not forget the human element of all of this stuff. We're all trying to, whether we're musicians or authors or YouTubers or podcasters or whatever, we're trying to connect with other human beings. And so, and when you connect with other human beings, is you get them to feel something. You inspire them. You get them to feel happy. You make them cry. You make them laugh. You make them want to dance, whatever It is.
Are you going to make the viewer want to dance?
Yeah, I think if we do a really good job of this podcast, we're going to be boogieing by the end of it. Totally.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you can get that emotion. You can get your
Mhm.
personality across in a handheld selfie video.
Right, exactly.
And I've seen a ton of those things where I go, man, that is really cool. And so, yeah, you eventually want to try to up your if you're drawn to do that, you can slowly but surely improve your equipment or your chops or hire someone, a freelancer, to do that. It's not something that it's common. I use but I edit my video. I'm beyond using my phone. I actually do use my phone when I'm on camera quite often. But I use an editing software that's I think only available on Macs called ScreenFlow, and it was originally like a Camtasia kind of thing where it was originally developed to do like tutorials or screen capture, like to show somebody what you're doing on your computer. But they've upgraded it over the years. And I just find it to be really intuitive. I've tried iMovie. I know there's all these things about Avid and all these professional things. So it's probably more about finding something that you're comfortable with. I just like ScreenFlow a lot, so that's what I use. I'm really quick with it, and so I can.
Is that a free program?
It's not. It's like it used to be like $100 one time fee. It might be more now, but it's probably still like 120 or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean that's not bad. I mean, people used to pay for. You'd have to go to Best Buy and buy the CD and.
And 3 CD-ROMs and
upload it on the computer and update it every year. So no, I mean I have nothing against paying for a good program. I'm using iMovie right now, and it's
I used it in the early 10 years ago.
The first time was very frustrating. I've gotten a little bit better, but I'm sure there's better. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I used it, but I struggled with it, and I just found ScreenFlow to be more easy or user friendly, and I guess got the hang of it now. But with anything that you use, it's going to be a learning curve. I mean, there are apps that you can get on your phone to edit and pull in various pieces. Because when you use your phone at first, if you're doing short content, you want to try to get it all in one take. But once you get to where you have multiple takes and you got to combine the videos and trim them and add background music or whatever, then you need to upgrade and either learn to use your app. I mean, a lot of younger people just do all that stuff on their phone. I need a desktop with a bigger monitor.
I'm old fashioned. I need the process.
I even have a mouse still. I use the mouse pad. But so just find so don't get hung up on the production. Just start getting comfortable looking into a camera or and also this is really important too, is knowing if you're doing the selfie cam thing, don't look at yourself in the because it looks like you're looking away from people. You got to know where the actual camera is. So look into that.
Look at the camera.
Yes, otherwise it looks like you're evading eye contact, in your videos, and makes it look shady. So just do what you can. So again, I don't know where someone's coming from. But types of content, a musician can do for a lot of your podcast listeners, they tend to be musicians because of what you do, or is it a variety of creative people? Or
gosh, I'm still trying to figure that out. Okay. So I started my podcast as an extension of my marketing for the school. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think that's still a major goal for me because it's providing this supplement on social media, and it's just this extra thing. It's giving the visual, and plus, I just want to reach out and just give some fun things for maybe our current students or somebody that might be interested in lessons or as a musician, whatever. I just don't know. I'm still, again, figuring that out. And so I think eventually, I'm honing in a little bit better on what my target audience is. But I'm kind of allowing it to take shape and come to life as it's going to naturally. And so I'm a little bit intrigued and interested in where this will go.
And that's really smart.
I don't know. I'm open-ended. It sounded like that's a little bit of what you did. Like you evolved over time and you saw what worked. And again, I don't know what my major goals are. Like, am I trying to really, do I want to get 100,000 subscribers like yourself? Or is it like, am I really just giving something supplemental to my students. I just don't know.
Right. And it's okay not to know. I mean, yeah, I often, I mean, in my life, I've set many goals, and a goal helps you set off in a specific direction. So you're just not
Yes.
meandering. So it helps to have goals, but another important,
Yes.
but don't be too rigidly attached to them. And so you set off in a direction, but I've learned that's super important just to pay attention. Like, well, for the one, have a playful attitude. And I've approached a lot of things in my life with, I wonder what would happen if, let me just try this and see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
And I think, and maybe some people think that's like a lackadaisical commitment to it, but if something starts to catch on or whatever, then I take a deeper dive, I lean into it more. But a lot of what I've done is just, let's see what this happens. I put stuff out into the world, pay attention to how people are responding to it.
Yeah.
Do more of what works, do less of what doesn't. And some things I had high hopes for, and they just didn't pan out. No one was interested. Other things I kind of threw out there, not thinking much of it, and it's like, whoa, this really, people are interested in this.
Yeah.
And so this goes for across the board, whether it's books or in my improv classes that I teach or whatever. This is all things that I just tried but anyway, I think that's a great approach. Just keep paying attention to what people are responding to, and do more of that, and do more of what you're drawn to do, what you're passionate about, and that will also
exactly. Like, I'm not going to have a podcast about building a garden in my backyard when I don't have a green thumb. Like, that would be flat, and I think people would, pick up on that. So even as popular of a thing, or I could completely mimic what you're doing with affirmations, that would work for you, but it probably wouldn't work out so well for me.
Or it would take a long time.
Right. So YouTube, so I think when obviously having a podcast or a channel, you need to have kind of a target audience in mind. However, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is why you're here, it's not necessarily about me creating something for a certain person. I'm creating something and it's going to be received well by these people. It's just like if you're writing a song, you're not going to, you're going to write a song that's meaningful to you, and that's your song. You're not going to be writing it thinking, oh, I want Bob to like the song and all of his friends. Like that would be goofy.
You wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself to have a hit while you're
like,
in the
you're not
process.
writing a song with, that would almost, I can't even describe that in a quick 2-second thing, but you would just be kind of skipping ahead and way too forward thinking. So you kind of have to just be yourself and be engaging, and what comes. And, kind of taking that approach is, again, kind of what I'm discovering and hoping will work.
Well, there's a couple of reasons I asked that. One is how it applies to your podcast and putting them on YouTube, but also just to give some advice to some of your listeners who are many of them might be musicians. It's the type of content to create. So in your case, Coffee Conversations is a podcast. It's you're doing interviews, and it's visual. And so you might be, at least in the short term, not locked in, but that's kind of probably the exclusive type of content format that you're going to be creating. Let's just take a musician, though. I'm just going to give you an idea of the wide range of stuff that you can create and put on YouTube just to test out and see different ways for people to discover you. So obviously, the traditional music video is one of them. High production. You got multiple angles or drone footage or whatever.
Okay.
You got the studio recording is the audio. So that's one way. That's like the typical music video. But you can do unplugged. People just sit in their living rooms and play an acoustic guitar or piano. Nora Jones on YouTube has been doing these series of just home shows from her apartment, or her house, or whatever. It's just her sitting there and playing, and it's awesome. So you can do that. You can, if we ever get back to live shows, have a recording of a live show in front of a live audience. You can do. And actually, I created something like a year ago or so called, it was all about like 30 different social media ideas that you can post, or social media marketing for, I don't know, I forgot what the title was,
Okay.
but I had a whole range of things that you can share. with video, like a tour of show them your creative space. People, it might be old hat for you, but people are fascinated by the creative process. So let people in to know, how do you write songs? What does your studio look like? Even if it's a home computer, share that. If you're on the road, well, you're not, like I said, people aren't traveling as much as they are, but what inspired your songs? Here's the kind of a cool way to tap into the popularity. Anytime you can like attach yourself to the popularity of someone or something else, that's also a smart thing to try on YouTube. Because even though my affirmations are my own making, sometimes I'll pay tribute to someone. Like Louise Hay is somebody that I don't know if you know who she is, but she is deceased now, but she was the founder of Hay House, this book publisher. She had a book years ago that was a bestseller called You Can Heal Your Life. And I just love her voice. I love her message. And so sometimes I'll pay tribute to Louise Hay. And these are some of my favorite Louise Hay affirmations. And people had discovered my YouTube videos by searching for her. She's just a lot more popular than I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm not, I give credit to her and I kind of rephrase some of hers, but I will pay tribute to her and recite some of her affirmations but it's a way so you can. So anyway, like, who are artists that have influenced you, that are well known, and you could just do a little video about what about them, like the first time you saw them in concert or the first time you heard one of their songs. So there's all sorts of types of content that just a musician alone can create and put out there, and you think strategically about what the theme is and how you're gonna title this thing, and you can again increase your odds of being discovered.
Okay.
Which might lead into those free keyword research tools. Yes. If you want to go there now, unless there's anything I said that you want to.
Gosh, I mean, there's so much that goes into this, and again, like you have all this vast knowledge that we.
So you want to go ahead
let's dive into that. Yeah.
So, and I'll try to make this concise. Yeah, just because we're already, this is going to be a meaty episode here. So there's a couple of ways that you can approach creating videos and then putting them up on YouTube. You can just spontaneously do something, or in your case, you're doing the interviews, and then later you have to upload them and think, okay, what was this about? Which is fine, because that works with interviews. I would encourage people though to do it the opposite way, is to figure out what they're going to talk about first, and by doing some simple research, come up with a title, and then create the video that lives up to that title. And so here's some simple tools. There's a thing called what is it called? Auto suggest. Have you noticed that when you go to YouTube, when you go to Google, when you go to Amazon and other sites, and you start typing in something you're looking for, do you notice that there's a drop-down menu that appears that's trying to anticipate what are you looking for? And so why do sites do that? Well, YouTube and other sites do that because they want to get you to the information you're looking for as quickly as possible. And if you have to type out a long phrase, it's just going to take a little bit longer. So they can anticipate what you're looking for, and then you're going to get to what you're looking for faster, and you're going to like Google or YouTube or Amazon more. But what they're serving up, the suggestions that they're showing you, is indicating these are things related to the word you're starting to type that people are already searching for. They're giving you popular phrases, right?
Yes.
So that's like free keyword research that you can do. Like I did a workshop where I just put in, and this is tie into the to what you do and with your schooling. I think I put in vocal lessons for space, and it drops down and shows you like 10 different things. Vocal lessons for beginners, vocal lessons for public speakers, even like there's vocal lessons for like trans people or people that had changes in their gender, and having to read, and so you just never know. You get all these ideas of popular search phrases on YouTube just by doing that simple little. And then you could try other phrases, singing lessons for, just keep on playing with the wording of it related to the thing that you do. And what you do is pick then one of those auto suggest things that you know something about. So maybe I do know vocal lessons for public speakers, or vocal lessons for, I don't know, musical theater or whatever, whatever it is.
Right.
And hone in on those like as being potential titles and things that you would address. You can do the same thing on Google. Do the Google auto suggest. Another cool thing about Google is, let's say you put in a phrase like vocal lessons for beginners. Let's just say that I put that in Google, I hit return, okay. It gives me a page of results. If you're on, I think it works in both desktop and phone. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, it says this people also search for, and it gives you other you've seen that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's telling you, here's some other things that people search for related to the phrase that you typed in. And those are potential titles or topics for YouTube videos. Another thing that Google is doing, you may have noticed, is it has questions that pop up along with the search results, like oh, what's the best singing technique or whatever. It's like trying to anticipate questions that you might have related to that thing you're searching for, and actually having that question in a title and answering it in a video.
And I'm assuming that's because of the talk to text feature that people are using a lot on their smartphone.
It works even when you're typing, when you're not using.
Okay, but I think that's probably becoming more popular because people might be like out to dinner and they're like, oh, when did the Cubs win the World Series last? And then they, ask their phone.
Oh, Siri or whatever.
Yeah, Siri, that's it. So no, that's brilliant information. And I think that, there is a lot of tie-in, if you want your video to get found and get good visibility, you want to have a strong title. And that way, when if somebody's searching for beginner voice lessons and you have a video just about that, then it's going to hopefully send them to your video or your page. Yeah. So that's kind of the point of it.
And just know that if you have a new channel, you're gonna hear crickets for the longest time. So just because you're using a popular phrase, there's all these other videos that have been out there longer that are already showing up. But you have to just commit. I would say, I would tell people you got to commit to like a year of consistent couple videos a week, just hammering away at it.
Be patient and don't give up. Yeah.
And focus more on niche. So instead of a wide thing, how to sing the blues, you would go to how to sing like Ella Fitzgerald on a particular, like go really into a specific thing that somebody might be searching for, where there's not a lot of competition on it. I think you might have some early success doing that, really niching down.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. Because there's going to be less people looking for that, and then you'll maybe start capturing people. Yeah. Is that kind of what you're alluding to? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to give you a better chance of being found early with the more really specific, like I'm sure there are different guitar playing styles. And if there's a really geeky, obscure thing that that this particular teacher or whatever knows about, do a video, put that in the title, heavily promote, that it's in the thumbnail. You're gonna and because you've also searched for it, you see there's not a ton of other videos on that topic. That's just another like strategic thing that you can do with your YouTube channel early on in particular.
Okay, so can we play a little fun game real quick?
Sure.
Or maybe it's not a game. I don't know. So I know that you had advised kind of finding your title through some research prior to recording something, but we didn't do that. Here we are. Mm-hmm. So what would be some good ideas? We just talked about having a title that people are looking for, but then we talked about getting something more specific. But this show has been pretty broad, in my opinion, and we've touched on several different ideas. So let's name this video. Let's name this podcast.
So one that I was anticipating that you might ask me that. So Leah, what would you title it on YouTube? I'm actually going to open up YouTube actually on my. So one thing is
again, like we've talked about so many things here. Like I'm curious if we put all of these fantastic tips we've been talking about that you've shared with us into fruition, what would we come up with?
Well, if you want to put, again, if you put the guest name and then the topic in, one that just pops at the top of my head, not that I'm well, I guess I'm getting better known on YouTube, but how
Yeah.
Bob Baker grew his YouTube channel.
So is your
Um,
YouTube channel named after you specifically?
it is. It's just Bob Baker. It's just my name. It's funny. Remember I talked about auto
But you have
suggest?
such a generic name, though.
I do.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
look it up.
So if you start typing Bob Baker into YouTube,
Doing it now.
the first auto suggest. I'm going to see if it happens. What's the first auto suggestion that comes up?
Well, I typed in Bob, and this could possibly be because I have stalked you on YouTube before, but I just wrote the word Bob, and you can't see this, but your name comes up. So this is what comes up: Bob Baker Affirmations, and then it goes into Bob Dylan.
Okay, yeah. So when you put Bob Baker and Affirmations is the first auto suggest. So
Yes.
YouTube search already knows that I am known for affirmations, and so I'm benefiting from that. How Bob Baker grew his affirmation channel or YouTube channel or something along those lines. So if you put in my name, affirmations, YouTube growth might to grow a YouTube channel might attract some of that, but you actually might get some of my people finding this interview.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see you here. It's a different side of things.
Yeah. So I'm happy. That'd be great if you. I'd be fine with that if you did that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I usually incorporate my guest name in, but kind of not intentionally to not place importance on them, but I do it kind of as an afterthought, and perhaps I'm doing it all wrong. Like I'll say, professional recording tips with Sam Mall. But it sounds like you're suggesting doing the opposite. Like,
yeah, to come up with the title first, but it's a little different with an interview.
As far as the guest name goes in the title, you're saying put it more in the forefront of it.
It all depends on the popularity of the guest. So if they're going to be, if people are searching for them on YouTube, I'd put them. So you want to put the most important words early in the title. But if they're not so well known and maybe the topic is, and also you said professional recording tips, I
just made that up.
Yeah. But that strikes me as possibly a generic, like a pretty general,
more generic
phrase. So, but if that guest goes into a detail about how to record a demo at home, or how to mic an acoustic guitar or something, but that's really nichey, I know, because the interview will probably cover a lot more than that. But that's an idea of how somebody who's an engineer and has a channel on what they do could niche down each video. One is how to mic an acoustic guitar. One is how to record a duo at a home recording studio or something. And so you just crank out a bunch of content and you hit it from your subject matter, your expertise from different angles. And when you find something that hits, even if it's just getting a few hundred compared to a dozen views, do another video on that topic, but just take it from a different angle. You're not repeating the same thing, but you're giving it a new spin. And that's the way a lot of channels have grown, is they kind of double. Sure. That's what I did. You double down on what's working.
Okay. Interesting. So I'm going to do some research on that, and I might have to revamp some of my titles again.
Yeah.
Now, we'll just take a couple more minutes. I just have one more question, though. So obviously, this wouldn't necessarily apply in the music scene because you're going to have a very specific title for your song, and you can't avoid that. I mean, you wouldn't title your YouTube video something other than your song title, right? So you'd be a little bit more confined in that regard?
I would add some extra words to it, especially unless you're a well-known artist where people are already seeking you out. I would put either a reference to the genre or the subject matter. I would try to add some additional words to the title to potentially attract some people. The style of music, love ballad about a dog or something. I don't know,
because that title is really important, and that title is extremely well linked to people doing a search.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If they're looking for, if you think people are going to be looking for that song or looking for your name as an artist. Mm-hmm. But I would early on to help you be discovered, I would probably just try to add some additional words that describe what's in that.
Okay.
But music is a little tricky. You're almost and that's another thing with as an artist, you're initially don't totally rely on YouTube to bring you all the traffic. You're going to have to send people there and get as many people there on your own that kind of get the ball rolling before the YouTube algorithm kicks in, and that can take a while. That's why you got to experiment with, in addition to your songs, do these other things that I talked about the showing people your process and your studio and any expertise that you have related to your music. Show that, and there's some weirdness about covers. Most people can get away with it, but sometimes you can get a strike, or not a strike, but just it's an ever-changing thing. But a lot of artists have attracted people to them by doing covers of other well-known songs.
Okay.
And you can generally do that legally on YouTube, but there's still every now and then, it depends on the publisher and what they have the right to take it down or just
gotcha. So it could be a little tricky, but
okay. But it's to be effective. It's like so pay tribute to other artists, do other things besides just your songs is what I'm saying, if you can.
Okay. Branch out a little bit. Yes.
Yeah.
What's coming to my mind is MTV Cribs. I don't know if that's still a thing, but
I remember it from way back when.
Or they would like open the door and it's like, welcome to my mansion. And people love that. You're exactly right. It's like, let's get more of an inside scope of who this person is. And it's attractive. So.
And if you have personal interests, if there's certain charities or themes, if you're an environmentalist or you believe in, I don't know, saving the animals or the dolphins or whatever, do
save the whales.
Save the whales. You can just do things on that. So what are your interests and what can you speak about and tie it into your music and your identity and attract people because your whole thing is you're wanting to attract like-minded people that you resonate with.
Have a cause.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so there's all these little aspects of our lives we can slice and dice. And so we have to stop having so much tunnel vision about what's possible when reaching out and connecting with people. Just, use every aspect of yourself to share and to have people discover you.
Very layered. It's really a lot that goes into it.
There is. Yeah. And again, it's the way you think about it. and I just train my mind to think in these ways, but doesn't come normal for most people.
Well, I think the assumption is, all these young folks, nothing against the young folks, but they're recording this video on their phone and they're just going to upload it to YouTube and things are just going to explode without, any thought. And that happens for some people, but the reality is there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot of things that you can do to improve. And, like you had mentioned, this is a major part of your livelihood now. And
it is.
That doesn't just happen overnight. It's work. No. It's not just...
It took years and paying attention and adjusting as you go, and you're not going to know it all and do it all. I mean, I still, there's things about YouTube I'm learning, and so you just chip away at it little by little. You might start off willy nilly, just posting whatever, but as you go, if you're serious about it and you kind of become just focus on it a little bit, you learn as you go and you just apply what you learn. And again, you don't have to have it all perfect just to start before you're ready. It's another phrase that I love. Just start posting stuff and you'll learn, you'll get better as you grow. And these strategic things that maybe don't come naturally will come if you were meant to spend more time on a YouTube channel, but maybe you don't.
Yeah. So the best way to learn is do it.
Yeah.
Apply yourself.
And then figure out where it fits into your life. And there's a lot of people that have YouTube channel, make a livelihood doing some other platform or some other venture, and YouTube is just a sideline for them. It just so happens that right now YouTube is like a primary thing that I do because that's how it worked out.
That's awesome.
But that's not the path that everyone needs to take. So
that's amazing. Yay. I didn't know that. So that's wonderful. You wear a lot of hats though.
Oh yeah. I teach improv. I do. I haven't done artwork in a while, but I still play and perform music and write music, and with my girlfriend primarily these days. And I'm a dad and a dog owner and You know?
Right. And you have
Uh,
a couple of plants that look like they still have life, so you're doing something
yes,
right with
thank
those.
God. Shit, my girlfriend waters them every now and then. Otherwise, I probably would forget. Oh, I have show and tell
And
here.
your
May I
books.
just show these up?
Yes.
So
Let's do that.
my flagship title, real quickly, and then we'll kind of wrap this up. The Guerrilla Music Marketing
Sure.
Handbook. This is the one that is in the movie, The School of Rock.
Love
And
it. Okay.
this is the one that your one of your recent guests, Matt Horman from Lindenwood University. He was using that as a textbook in their classes, and they said, "Well,
Oh, wow.
Bob lives in St. Louis, and let's just have him come in and teach the class." So I've been an adjunct professor at Lindenwood
It's
for the last
amazing.
few years, and then other titles related to that. Is the 9 Irrefutable Laws of Music Marketing. Another book that was very popular a few years ago called The 5-Minute Music Marketer. And so if you think your time starved, I don't have time to market my music. Literally, there's like 151 things that you can literally do in 5 minutes.
Wow.
If that's all the time that you have.
And
So
that's geared towards that's geared towards the music industry for a musician.
Yeah, 5-minute music marketer.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. And then the 9 Irrefutable Laws of Music Marketing is more like timeless principles. There's always be a new website, a new gadget, but these are like, you can lock into these like fundamental principles. You can apply them to
They're timeless.
whatever the thing is of the flavor of the month. For creative people
Yeah.
in general, I got the Empowered Artist, a call to action for musicians, writers, visual artists, and anyone who wants to make a difference with their creativity. And then if you like light reading, The Passion Principles, that's actually my most recent book, even though it's been a couple years, 101 Ways to Express Your Creativity and Share It with the World, where each one of these ways is a little nugget of wisdom that literally fits on one page. So you can pick it up and just flip open, and if you just need some quick inspiration. And then for those who are into improv and know the show Whose Line Is It Anyway, which was very popular with Drew Carey and still on these days with Aisha Tyler as the host. I got to know Laura Hall, the piano player and music director, and we put out a book together called The Improv Comedy Musician. That's all these are available on Amazon in like 13 countries. And so,
wow. And what's your website?
So let's see here. For the music marketing stuff, it's thebuzzfactor.com. The Buzz Factor. I don't know. I hope I'm not reversed here. The Buzz Factor.
Nope, you're good. Thebuzzfactor.com.
And for creativity in general, if you go to promoteyourcreativity.com, that's promoteyourcreativity.com. That'll take you to a site where you can get a bunch of free stuff and samples of my various books and audiobooks, and get on the Creative Entrepreneur VIP list, what I call it, because I have a podcast by that name. Yeah, the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast and the Music Marketing Podcast. And I'm about to release some YouTube tips on those babies too.
Oh, yay. Nice. So do you have 2 different YouTube channels or several, or is it just the one?
So I only recently the main channel is the Bob Baker one. Yeah, that we mentioned has 135,000 subscribers. I started a second one. It's called like Meditation Inspiration, just to experiment with some other related things. It just recently got to the point where I could apply for partnership because it only has like 1,200 subscribers compared to. And then I didn't want to confuse people. I have a lot of music marketing stuff in my archives on the Bob Baker channel, but I don't publish anything new there on music marketing. It was just too confusing my affirmation and meditation people. So I actually do have I have a Bob Baker music marketing channel that's really new. Only has like 40 subscribers. I'm starting to publish more of that on that separate channel.
When did you start that?
I mean, I think I created it like last year, but I haven't. I haven't really been focusing on it. But eventually, I'd like to populate that with the newer music marketing stuff because I still have a lot to offer. That's what I'm known for the longest. But I didn't want to water down the main channel. With
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So that's all on YouTube. If you search for my name in music marketing, hopefully you'll find that too.
Cool. Awesome.
Yay. So this has been fun, Jen. Well, this has been a long interview.
It just flowed. And you've got, again, a world of knowledge. So it's been very insightful. So thank you so much.
You bet, and continued success with all of your efforts, and I hope
Thanks.
We'll eventually be able to see each other in person again someday.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you with the success and seeing you, of course.
Right, sounds good. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, you have been listening to Coffee Conversations. I am your host, Jen Lobonc Billhartz with Shock City School of Music, and we had our guest, Bob Baker, today with lots of tips on how to grow your YouTube channel and some music marketing. So thank you again for being here, Bob. And you can find, got several websites, which we just listed, and we'll tag all of those in our comments. And you can find us at shockcityschool.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and you can even support. Comment below if there's something that really stood out to you, or maybe you've got some awesome tips, or maybe you've tried one of these things that we talked about today. So be sure to comment on that. We'd love to hear from you. All right, enjoy your day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.